All right, Cowherd, did the Spurs get enough for Kawhi Leonard?
You know, they got something. They got an all-star level player. Although he's not an all-star in the West, not a great analytics player, but just remember this. Toronto traded their best, most popular player. That's what they thought of his contract. This is easily the most popular player. Vertical player, gets you buckets, scores, fun to watch. All-star in the East. And the fans aren't happy, and they got rid of him. For a player, they're praying wants to stay there. I mean, San Antonio got a very talented guy that gets you 19, 20 a night. But Toronto let him go. That tells you something.
DeMar DeRozan can get you more than that, and he has gotten teams more than that. I think this is a great deal for the Spurs, given the position they were in. I don't think we've seen the best of DeMar DeRozan. He's 28 years old. Dwayne Casey, nice coach, nice system, but it's not Greg Popovich's system. He's not Greg Popovich. Greg Popovich took a kid out of San Diego that most people didn't think much of and turned him into the second or third best player in the NBA, his system. I can't wait to see a 28-year-old DeMar DeRozan and what he can do with him. I think this is an ideal, given the circumstances, an ideal get for the San Antonio Spurs.
Jason, you're absolutely correct in the fact that we haven't seen the best out of DeMar DeRozan yet. And I think any player that goes into Pop's system, they automatically get better. They learn how to play. Pop uses their abilities and enhances their abilities. They have a great player development staff, as you know. And that's going to be an environment where DeMar DeRozan can actually shine and get better and be the All-NBA performer that he already is. We haven't seen the best of him because he's averaged 5 assists this year, and he's always finding ways to get better and enhance his game. Pop's going to do that. They had a short market for DeMar DeRozan, and they found a team that needed an All-Star and wanted an All-Star in exchange for Kawhi Leonard, and they made it happen. It's a good trade.
And I think it's going to force DeMar DeRozan to change his game somewhat. I'm not a fan of Kawhi Leonard is only Kawhi Leonard because he played in the Spurs system. You know, in San Antonio, when Kevin Durant called Kawhi Leonard a system player years ago, all hell broke loose. Kawhi Leonard can flat out go. He is a top 3 or 4 player in this league. Yes, they do have a great development staff. Chip England, Greg Popovich, R.C. Buford, they're fantastic. But it forces you to play a different way. So DeMar DeRozan, like you said earlier, analytically, he's not the best guy. You know, if you look at the way the San Antonio Spurs, they play, they defend, first and foremost, so Pop will get that out of him. The defensive side of the basketball, especially in giving up Danny Green and also in giving up Kawhi Leonard, but also that three-point shot. You'll see him add that to his game a little bit more. And like you said, Dahntay, you know, averaging low amount of assists, that'll change when you go to San Antonio because it forces you to play a different, more open style of basketball.
Yeah. Who's a better player?
Kawhi Leonard, we think, is a better player.
No, Kawhi Leonard's a better player.
Kawhi Leonard's a better player.
For sure.
Okay.
So I got the better player in Toronto, and I got the better contract. You know how much I can get for Kawhi Leonard if I call the Clippers and Lakers and go, bid? They both want him.
But they just had the chance to bid on him, and they did.
Because Popovich wouldn't let him stay in the West, so he wanted a boatload of stuff.
But you got an All-NBA performer with 3 years left on his contract. We all know that San Antonio Spurs is not an ideal destination when you have teams coming up in free agency like the Lakers, the Clippers, New York Knicks have cap room coming up. So you're not going to get that type of tier free agent coming up if you're San Antonio because not all guys want to go play in San Antonio. They don't understand the benefits of San Antonio playing there, but they all want to go in bigger markets. So you got an All-NBA performer with 3 years left on his deal. That's a good trade.
I'm sorry for leaving this out. Antonio lives in San Antonio, played 4 years for the Spurs. But you were helped by the Popovich system, no?
Yeah, no question. No question. But I was also a role player. So I have never been on the level of a Kawhi Leonard or a DeMar DeRozan. But what Dahntay said was right. He was this Spurs culture is not for everybody.
Right.
It's not. And think about how much times have changed. Because you have DeMar DeRozan upset because he was traded from Toronto to San Antonio.
Something to prove.
That's like being upset from being traded from an NFL team to the New England Patriots. Think about how much times have changed. The culture in San Antonio is not what it once was.
LaMarcus Aldridge wanted out 2 years ago.
Exactly. When Tim Duncan walked out that door, the culture walked out with him. And look at what has transpired since Tim Duncan left. 1 year later, LaMarcus Aldridge wants out. The next year, Kawhi Leonard wants out. Things have changed. That culture is not what it once was.
Tim Duncan was a bigger part of the culture than people understand.
I'm going to disagree, and we're a little bit off here, but I got to disagree with that in terms of the player, I don't think the culture's changed. The players and expectations have changed. When you had the Tim Duncans, the David Robinsons, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, those are really four unique guys. Three of them didn't even grow up playing in the United States of America. And then you got David Robinson, the Naval Academy, really mature coming there. Now that you get to the more stereotypical U.S.-born players, LaMarcus Aldridge, Kawhi Leonard, now there's problems. But I don't know if that's a Pop deal as much as the players have changed.
I would argue for you in that respect because I think you got you got a San Antonio guy in your system right now with DeMar DeRozan because he's a guy who eats, sleeps, and drinks basketball. He lives in the gym. He's not worried about all those other things that come with basketball. He's not talking about business. He's talking about basketball and basketball only. And he's going into a system that will be good for him. And he's going to jump right in and do whatever's necessary. He's a good character guy. He's never gotten in any trouble. He's a guy that fits this San Antonio culture that we've all seen and loved.
And I'm going to go back to something you just said. As far as Popovich and that system go, Pop has done an excellent job at adjusting on the floor with rule changes and so on and so forth, which allowed them to win championships in 3 different decades. They haven't changed that same way off the floor according to personalities. They still go about things as if Tim Duncan and David Robinson are in that locker room, and they're not. The same way that they have adjusted on the floor according to personnel and rule changes and so on and so forth, they have not adjusted off the floor according to the personalities that they have in that locker room.
Now, Jason, do you think that's a smart move?
No, I don't. I think you strike while there's an opportunity, and now you've given Jerry West an opportunity to refocus and for the Clippers to get in there because from what I understand or what's being reported, he doesn't care. He just wants to be in L.A. Clippers, Lakers, it doesn't matter. And so I think you've given the Clippers an opportunity. I think you've given other teams an opportunity. There's another element added to it now that is Toronto and the general manager that Dahntay loves. There's a chance that he doesn't end up with the Lakers. And so I would have went out and got him if he was on the table. I would have went out and got him and rolled my dice with him and LeBron.
I actually agree with you on something. The Clippers want him. And my sources say they think they have a real shot. You can't play cool. You got to get on the phone.
Agreed.
If I'm the Lakers, I get on the phone now. Now, I would not initially. Pop was not going to let the Lakers have him unless they gave him everybody. Toronto doesn't want to give him to Philly. He doesn't want to give him to Boston. Toronto doesn't have a problem giving him to L.A. Give me a number 1 pick, Lakers. You have a first-rounder. Give me Josh Hart. Give me Kyle Kuzma. Give me a second-round pick to... But if you think you're going to get him now because you're the Lakers, to your point, no. Because I know Jerry West. Jerry's going to say, here's Tobias Harris. We'll build a team around you. We'll have a relationship with our ownership. We'll figure out ways, the tech world. They're going to make a real pitch, are the Clippers.
I think it was smart because now you have a more favorable GM to deal with because, as the report said, that Pop didn't want to deal him to a Western Conference team. So now he's in the East, and as you said, you have a guy who's only wants to deal it to the West. He doesn't want to help his guys because he's still building and trying to create a team. But I think the Lakers ultimately had the best assets for a Kawhi Leonard exchange. Now they just have to come up with a package that makes sense. Pop was trying to fleece them. He was trying to get 3 of their young talents, 2 first-round picks, a second-round pick, and cash. It really didn't make any sense. But now 2 of the 3 may be able to go and a first-round pick. And that may make more sense for Magic at this point in time to build with Kawhi, let's say Kawhi and Hart or Kawhi and Kuzma rather than just taking all of your young talent and kicking it out the door. So I think it makes more sense now for you to deal with Masai than it did with Pop.
I agree with you. I think that the Lakers, this is the deal that the Lakers should have made for a couple of reasons. Number one, choosing not to get Kawhi now, you're actually allowing a year of LeBron to go. You're basically saying, you know what, we're not going to challenge this year. If you don't acquire Kawhi Leonard this year, what you're basically saying is we're not going to challenge this year. So you have LeBron for 3 with an option. So basically you're saying this year for LeBron is a wash. You're not – see, LeBron's be 34 years old here soon. You got to take advantage of every opportunity of him being the best player on the planet. You have to. And I feel like if you can add Kawhi Leonard, especially in today's NBA, one guy ain't going to do it alone. You cannot do it alone. With all these guys that are joining up and playing together and creating super teams, you need more than one star. Even if that one star is the best player on the planet, if you have an opportunity to acquire a Kawhi Leonard and put him alongside LeBron James, you do it.
So I think it's smart because all these reports are saying that he doesn't care if he goes to the Clippers. I've heard that that's false. I've heard that he doesn't want to be the only show in town. He wants to consistently win. Kawhi wants to play winning basketball. And he knows if he goes to L.A., it has to be next to LeBron James. He doesn't want to be with the other team rather than the team in L.A. So I think he ultimately wants to be a Laker. And at this point in time, I think the Lakers have more leverage in this situation because there's not that many teams that are going to give up for a guy who knows his sights are in L.A.
By the way, the shoe deal for Kawhi is a little bit of a bone of contention.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know how you get shoe deals? You're on TV in June. You play with LeBron, you're on TV in June.
No, all your games are on TV during the course of the year,
during the course of the regular year.
So the Clippers games are not going to be on TV, unfortunately, like the Lakers games are going to be.
Go to Golden State then.